how Wolverine's claws became his own greatest enemy. Logan had survived countless battles, from wars that stretched across continents to struggles that raged inside his own mind. But nothing prepared him for the words Reed Richards spoke, "Your healing factor is gone." The sentence hung in the air like a funeral bell. Logan's entire existence, his survival through decades of violence, his reputation as the man who could take any punishment and keep fighting, was suddenly broken. For the first time in his long life, he wasn't indestructible, he wasn't unbreakable, he was mortal. Reed's diagnosis was grim. The adamantium that covered Logan's skeleton, once a source of power, had become a poison. His healing factor had always kept the metal's toxicity under control, repairing the damage faster than it could spread. Now, without that protection, the metal was killing him slowly, seeping into his bloodstream like a disease, destroying him cell by cell. And then came the cruelest truth of all. The very claws that made him a legend, the blades that had cut down armies, saved innocent lives, and carved his name into history, were now his executioners. Every time Logan extended them, the razor-sharp edges tore through his own flesh. Before, his body would close the wounds instantly. Now the wounds remained open, raw, and bleeding. Each pop of his claws left him weaker, vulnerable to infection, and closer to death. Reed Richards begged him to stop. He explained how the tissue around Logan's knuckles would decay, how his arms could become breeding grounds for bacteria and disease. He begged Logan to think carefully before drawing his weapons again. Without healing, every fight would be suicide. But Logan wasn't a man who listened to warnings. Caution had never been part of his personality. He was stubborn and proud, and shaped in too many battles to walk away from who he was. To tell Wolverine not to use his claws was to tell him to stop being himself, and that, to Logan, was a fate worse than death. Still, the damage was immediate. Each time he drew his claws, the pain was unbearable, the bleeding relentless. He found himself slower, weaker, his body betraying him in ways it never had before. Where once he healed in moments, now his wounds remained, forcing him to feel the weight of every cut, every bruise, every fracture. The fights didn't stop. Enemies saw weakness in his failing body, circling like predators smelling blood. Logan fought them anyway, knowing the cost. Every battle left him closer to the edge, his strength fading faster than it returned. Where once his recovery was measured in seconds, now it was measured in weeks, time he no longer had. For the first time, Logan had to live with the knowledge that each choice mattered. Each fight could be his last. His claws, once symbols of unstoppable survival, were now blades carved from inevitability. Every time they cut someone else, they cut him too. But Logan was never a man to bow to fear. He carried on the same as always, walking into danger with the weight of mortality pressing down on him. He knew that time was no longer his ally, that every wound pushed him closer to the grave. Yet if death was coming for him, it would find him standing, claws drawn, defiant until the very end, because even stripped of healing, stripped of invincibility, he was still Wolverine, and that until his final breath would never change.